Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Legacy Leaders. Today, Scott McMeans, yours truly, is joined by Brian Harp of Harp Housing. And what we're going to talk about today is a wonderful business he and his wife have built as a side business that has actually taken over a really big part of their life. So, without too much ado, I'm going to let the camera and microphone be yours. Tell us your story, what you do, how well you do it, and why do people love working with you. So, Brian, introduce
Yeah,
yourself.
no problem. Thank you, Scott. Like Scott echoed, obviously started a short-term rental business. It's been about 4.5 years. Started with one property in Columbus, and we've scaled successfully to 11 that we own, and then we manage an additional four. So we have a fleet of 15 Airbnbs across Cleveland, Lakewood, Tremont, Ohio City, the Flats. And then in Columbus, we have two properties there, one in Italian Village and one in Victorian Village. So it's been a fun and eventful 4 to 5 years. My wife and I have worked diligently as teammates to really grow this business. It's a hospitality business, it's a 24/7 on-call business. But luckily, with both of our full-time jobs, we have flexibility to be able to kind of work both jobs simultaneously. But the biggest thing that we've put into place is obviously systems to delegate and grow our business successfully. And one thing that we do different than most Airbnb hosts is we're family owned business. So I started it with the help of my wife. And like I said, we've scaled quickly, but in doing so, we brought on my father-in-law. He used to cover 400 apartment buildings. So bringing him on is a complete game changer to scale our business. We're not outsourcing anything. He's able to pretty much fix, he's kind of a jack of all trades. I think he's really the heartbeat right now of our business. So being able to bring him on has not only saved our margins, but we can sleep better at night knowing that we have him to send to repair or fix any incremental, things that come up during a stay. As you can imagine, with Airbnb, people are paying good money to check in on a Friday and check out on a Sunday. So you have 48 hours to impress them. The way the reviews are, it's extremely crucial nowadays. So in our opinion, we're taking more of a Chick-fil-A approach than a McDonald's approach. We could scale a lot faster. However, we want to be unique. We want to work with certain investors that understand our vision, and our vision is to have unique properties. We're not looking to scale with just buying a low end property and putting IKEA furniture. We differentiate as if you're coming into our properties. We're going to have hot tubs. We're going to have pool tables. We're going to have 100-inch TVs. This recent one that we just got going, it's going to be called the 19th hole in Birdie Town. It's in Lakewood, but the area is called Birdie Town. So we have themed it to be a miniature golf course in the backyard with a hot tub, hillbilly
That's
golf if
awesome.
you've ever played that. So we try to make it not only a fun setting, but a family setting, because the biggest thing is what people don't realize is Cleveland is one of those cities that people from all over the world are traveling here, and I'm seeing it firsthand. So it's pretty cool to see where all these people are traveling in, and it's a great thing for Cleveland. I know there's some negative, things that get
Yeah.
out there sometimes, but what I can tell you, it's bringing more and more tourism to the city of Cleveland, which is really helping small businesses. I'm big on obviously partnering up with different small businesses because we are one, and just bringing more and more tourism to Cleveland and Columbus. So it's been a fun journey and a hard one, but it's really, as being somebody that's in sales, um, it's it's a different animal when you're not the number three or number two guy for the company and you're the number one guy. You got payroll you got to worry about, you got employees. So it's been a learning curve, but through the help of my wife, she's been amazing. I think my my greatest investment has been, my life partner, which is my wife. She's incredible. And then just the help of my father-in-law, and then, finding the right key players that can help accelerate our business to keep it that family approach and that personal touch and not AI driven. I see a lot of these property management companies going to virtual assistants and AI. I think as somebody that is in sales, I think that takes away the personal approach and comfortability of staying with somebody. So we have a group of communicators that we've hired. So we're pretty much around the clock, checking in, checking out, on who's, filtering the late night 3 a.m. calls if somebody gets locked out or this, that, and the other. But long story short, we're really excited at this point. I'm excited to work with you, Scott, because we're at that point where we're ready to open the floodgates and to start working with investors to take on more and more properties. Obviously, we've bought 11 of them, and we know how much work that takes to literally buy it,
Mhm.
close. We bought our recent one 2 weeks ago, and today we're going to be going live. So
Wow.
we've done, and we did it all. My wife and I, my father-in-law, we staged it all. We didn't hire any designers. So that's another thing that we're looking to get into, is obviously growing the management piece, because we've realized, with our reputation of having 1,200 reviews on Airbnb and Superhost status, and then another 500 reviews on VRBO, we realized that we're getting investors reaching out to us. We haven't even picked up the phone and started cold calling,
Yeah.
and really getting people. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm excited for, also creating an arm of our business to grow, kind of like an Airbnb revamp. So if there's a struggling Airbnb host out there, we come in and we change the way they're doing their business, and we manage it, and we add the amenities that we know will generate the revenue that they aren't seeing. So I'm a big firm believer of, spend money to make money. So our properties, we definitely spend money. Some of them have, one of them has a commercial grade golf simulator in it. So we know what's appealing, and we want to continue to keep that reputation, a special personal approach, while providing unique amenities and a unique experience. So it's definitely been fun, and I look forward to continuing to grow the business here in Cleveland as well as Columbus, and then expand. Our next hope is obviously getting into Hocking Hills, getting
Yeah.
into, even Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, some of these places where we feel like we can grow, and there's a market for us. So that's kind of it
Well,
in a whole
no,
nutshell.
this is great. There's a lot of stuff to unpack here. First off, I want to say what you described is a very interesting customer experience. And being in this hospitality world, deep breath, it's really hard to make everybody happy. We just know that walking in, right? So what you've done, and it sounds like you guys have a really nice system, you do it in a way that Chick-fil-A mentality of my pleasure. I'm going to take care of this. I am going to allow myself the latitude to be a really good customer service person, but the environment that you've created is basically what you're offering is, right? But it's the way you handle it. You've got somebody on staff that can take a phone call. You have somebody on staff that can meet and greet them if necessary. But it's all about that personal touch, right? And I think when we were talking about an earlier conversation, the AI driven methodology that some businesses have is unbelievably efficient, but
Yes.
it's one of the most frustrating things to do. And I don't know how many different memes or whatever that you can see, but somebody's on the phone and they're just yelling customer service, customer service. I just want to
Exactly.
talk to somebody, right? And
Yes.
that is a lost art. And I think there's ways to systemize your business to have
Yes.
human involvement, and the personal experience, how you make people feel is the most important thing. And if somebody's going to be spending thousands of dollars to rent a property for a few days, it
Yes.
should never be a complication. It should never be, I can't get in, the lockbox code's wrong, whatever stupid thing that
Yeah.
can happen. It's always about proper planning allows for an amazing experience. And I love the idea that you've built it in such a way that you're growing, but you're not going to overextend yourselves because I have to do this right. And I can't extend myself beyond my own skis, which is a good point.
Yeah.
The other thing I really like is the family business aspect of it. Like It's easy to say, well, my father-in-law takes care of all that stuff. But if he's not really good at it, I don't care if he's taking care of it, right? He has to be good at it.
Yeah, yeah,
And it sounds like you, your wife, your father-in-law, and the team you built around this entity of family owned really gives the push behind a family owned business, which is, yeah, I'm Brian, this is my wife, and my father-in-law will be there in 2 minutes to take care of that.
exactly.
Oh, wait, you don't hire Jim's Plumbing? No, my
Yeah,
father-in-law will be there. He's our maintenance guy. He'll
exactly.
take care of it. I think that resonates with people, especially when an Airbnb mentality is, I am going to be staying in somebody else's house. It's kind of cool that their father-in-law is the guy that's going to come fix this if there would ever be a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I think it
Just
gives
different.
that special touch to, they feel like they're not only it's not just another Airbnb ran by a huge, company. It's, oh wow, they're, a small business, they're family oriented, and their comfortability of like, hey, something may have happened or something needs fixed, but to tell them, hey, he'll be there. And not only will he be there, rest assured, I'm not sending some random person. It's my father-in-law. He
Yeah.
works for us. It just that extra touch definitely resonates with guests when they are leaving us a review, or even when they want to return, stay with us. We've realized it's a special approach. And just being in sales, I'm big on quick and being in speed and efficient
Mhm.
follow up. And I think the property managers that we're competing against, a lot of them aren't sales guys or sales, women.
Mhm.
So I've taken that approach. My wife, she runs a business too, is it's all about speed, follow up, and making the guests feel special. Because at the end of the day, in order for us to continue to grow and continue to have return stays, we have to have a different approach than every other competitor.
Yeah.
And when I look at these other competitors that are growing probably faster than us, and they are doing a great job. Don't get me wrong, but I think where they're losing is it's not as personal approach. And I think when I stay at an Airbnb, I have stayed at them before, is when you stay at ones that are um, let's say they have hundreds of them, right? Their response rate isn't as impressive as you think. And if it is, and if it's from a virtual assistant, they could be in a different part of the world, right? So you're
Yeah.
not getting that personal approach where my wife messages back, my Cleveland or Columbus communicators message back, and they say, "Hey, go check out this dive bar in Cleveland and Tremont, or go. This is where I would go." The virtual
Yeah.
assistants can they take all that away, and it almost makes for a bland stay, in my opinion. So that's kind of what we want to continue to do. Is we don't want to just grow and just be, check in, check out.
No.
We make everything effortless to another thing. We don't give any cleaning chores on the way out. Our cleaners take care of everything. So all we ask for our guests is when you check out, turn the lights off, lock the door, everything we take care of. I know a lot of other people, they want to do, hey, put the towels in the washer,
Right. Right.
but we eliminated all of that. And in doing so, we've realized, people realize that, hey, this isn't like they're not trying to nickel and dime us. They're actually taking care of us, and that's something different and unique that I think we're doing. And I know a lot of other Airbnbs are, good hosts are eliminating that, but I still see a lot of them just like, I've been to places and they're these crazy rules and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's like, come on, like, we paid good money. You can't just create all
Okay.
these type of things.
That's a really good point. I want people, again, this is all about education and lessons learned for people in business. It's not about how much money you are spending to get something, whether it's a product or a service, the experience. You're paying money because you want to have something. You shouldn't have to pay so much money and be upset about, God, I can't believe I spent that much money and I was treated like shit, right? It should
Exactly.
never be like that. It should be, I spent all this money and I, I had a great vacation for a weekend or a week. I had this amazing home. I did all these great, wonderful things to have great experiences. You know what? I didn't have to put the towels away. I didn't have to make a bed. It was
Exactly.
just like staying in a hotel, but so much better, right?
Exactly.
And think about that though, from just the experience perspective. One of the notes I wrote down, Brian, was no bland stays at Harp Housing. That should be your tagline because
Yeah.
you have cool venues, unique houses, like even the 19th hole, which I'm intrigued by. But the idea is you come to a Harp Housing home, you come and stay in our home for however long you're going to be there. And when you leave, don't worry about it. We got it. That is
Exactly.
an amazing experience, right? So when I talk about this to other people in different businesses, it doesn't have to be housing or Airbnb that is your product or service. It's how do you make those customers feel when they interact with you?
Exactly.
And what you're describing is we take care of everything. Thank you for your money. We get it. But when you open the front door and when you shut it behind you, all that time in between, we got you. That
Exactly.
is what the customer experience is supposed to be. It shouldn't be guessing what I'm supposed to do. It shouldn't be I'm not allowed in this room. It should be I just experienced this amazing home for the time I'm there. I love that. And it's
Yeah.
crazy that other people aren't doing that, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of I think with I'm lucky because my wife, she's got a very strong business mind. But another thing that we do, and I know I would guess that maybe 1% or 5% of hosts do this. I pick up the phone and I call every guest after every checkout and I thank them for their business. But I use that as a mechanism for another touch point to not only
Mhm.
get there, because what happens is Airbnb and VRBO, they're realizing that more and more hosts are creating that direct booking, right? And in order to do so, they're limit in order to for them to protect themselves, right? They're as soon as checkout happens, they take the email, they take the phone number away, right?
Right.
So I make sure we use StayFi, which is almost like a Panera Bread. When you go to Panera Bread, you come in, you check into my Airbnb, you have to put your full name and your email, and we get all their information. So if you stayed with us, Scott, and you had 8 guests with you, right? I'm not getting the 8 guest contacts,
Yeah.
right? So in order for me to do so, I included StayFi in every one of our properties. So what that does is it auto populates if anyone wants to join the Wi-Fi, which they're going to, because they don't want to use data, right? They then have to log in to StayFi and put their first and last name and their email and their phone number. What that does for us is we're able to now we can send marketing out and flyers out and get their direct
Mhm.
information. So then when they come back, we can get more and more return guests. And in doing so, that's that personal approach of being able to call the guests too, or follow up with them and continue to get them to come back and stay with us moving
Yeah.
forward. I don't think enough hosts out there are there. I think they're scaling so quickly that they're forgetting that personal touch and that follow-up skill, which is, when I call them, they're almost shocked to hear, oh, why you call me? I'm like, oh, I'm the owner. I just want to thank you for your business. I know you spent a lot of money. Hey, moving forward, anytime you come back and stay with us, here's my 15 locations. We give you 10% discount for any return stays. And we can also do direct booking as well. And
Mhm.
from doing so, my phone dings almost daily of people that I followed up with. They're like, "Hey, we're back in town. We're coming in for a Browns game or a concert or this, that, and the other." So it's like that extra effort that I don't think a lot of hosts are doing because it is timely, right? It takes time,
Yeah.
but it's just like anything, like pick up the phone and dial. And I don't think in the world we live in now, I mean, I don't think enough people are doing that. And they're scared to make a cold call or do this, that, and the other. I just, I think it's a great comfort for the guests moving forward if they ever come back. They're like, you know what, he's a good, it's family
Mhm.
owned. His father-in-law, his wife run the business, so that's something that I've incorporated with my group of communicators is follow up and speed. Because all of a sudden, if someone's trying to inquire about my place and we don't message back in 15 minutes,
They're
guess what?
gone.
They're
They're
gone.
gone. Yeah, they're
They're
going to somebody
gone.
else.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
with how competitive the Cleveland market is right now, because it's getting flooded right now, um, you gotta be fast and you gotta be efficient and you gotta have a different way of doing business than just like the to your point the bland what I mentioned before is like the oh yeah well, I won't walk away from a booking. Just like I won't walk away from a sale. It's like, hey, if someone's messaging me for this weekend and their budget is X and it's a last minute booking, I'm going to work with them to get it done because I'd rather get them in and get them to stay with us than just hold a price to hold a price,
Right.
right? So
Well, there's a number of things that come in that conversation, right? You can get 100% of nothing or
yes,
50% of something, right? So you're going to want to do that because utilization makes a lot in hospitality, right? One thing that you touch base on, I want to make sure I really hone in on this. Pick up the phone and dial.
yes,
Okay. The fact that everything is communicated on a phone via text, it's really awkward for somebody to hear another voice on the other end of the phone because wow, I didn't even know that this phone does that. Like I can actually have a conversation. But once that conversation starts, I would imagine the people on the other end are like, oh my God, somebody from that business just called me to talk to me about it. I feel really good about it. Now, taking it down a little bit further of the cascade, Brian, I like the idea of calling them because one of the questions, and I don't know if you do this, but I'm assuming you do. How was your stay? What did you like? What can we do to improve? And if
exactly,
they don't tell you what you can do to improve, that's a great scenario. Great,
exactly,
because you did everything right. But what if they told you what you could do to improve? That's
oh,
even better. You know why that's even better? Because now you just found a way to unlock the key to say, oh, I don't know how many different experiences people have had like that, but if we fix that, we're better
exactly,
off. So
exactly.
picking up the phone and having a conversation allows you to actually have a human interaction with somebody and you can talk about, tell me about your stay. What did you like the most about it? What can I do to make it better? Again, if they say something, well, no, you guys are great. Or, you know what? The coffee maker was kind of weird. I don't understand how that
Yeah,
worked.
exactly,
Something stupid like that, be like, okay, oh, if we fix the coffee maker, okay, next time you come back, we'll make sure the coffee maker's fixed. Done.
agreed,
Right.
agreed. That's huge.
So, right, because now you've got an engaged customer with you, and they just gave you something that they didn't like, and your immediate response is, oh, okay. Well, next time you come back, I'll make sure that's working right. No worries. We got it taken care of.
Exactly,
Great. Right. That's
exactly.
almost better.
Yeah, exactly. To your point, some of these guests, they just are crickets, right? So you would
Mhm.
just assume the stay was great. Some people don't have that urgency to message, right? But on the flip the script, there's a lot of people that are like, okay, you know, light bulb in the living room's out, right? Or this, that. But when you read a message, right? Just like when we read text messages today, right? You can read a text message and you can misinterpret the
Yes.
vibe of, hey, is this person mad? Or is this just this person texts this way, right? So that's why the pick up the phone and dial is
Mhm.
so important because you see a message come through, they may not be coming off the way you think they are, but you just read it wrong, or vice
Yeah.
versa, or they read your message that you're just, and they think, so that personal approach of just had, it's uncomfortable for some people to do it, but what I'm coaching, obviously, our team is being able to pick the phone up and have that personal conversation with them because if you're just reading the text message, you're getting heated over like both parties not
Right.
understanding each other. So getting on a phone is so different than
Hmm.
the text messages nowadays. It's like the old days, you just pick the phone up and you had that conversation. Nowadays, everyone wants to text, message. But a lot of interaction can be misleading for both ends, and then it could blow up to be, oh, that
No, you've nailed
actually
it.
do because I'm a male and right, and my wife's a female, right? So my message that gets sent could come off a different way than if my wife
Yeah.
sent, and vice versa.
Well,
So
what's interesting is I make this comment quite a few times about pick up the phone, talk to somebody. When you're having a live conversation, that's when context is allowed to be present, right?
yeah,
In a text message, I can't judge sarcasm. I don't know
exactly,
you're really good at grammar and I don't understand it. I don't know you don't understand a run-on sentence. Like I don't know what's happening in this text message
yes,
right now. But all I know is it seems like you're mad at me, but I don't know. So how do I respond? Do I say something full back to you and escalate it, or do I try
yes,
to neutral? You know what? Pick up the phone and say to somebody, "Hey, what's going on?"
yeah,
It just makes it easier to do that. The one thing that does come out of that there's no track record of what was actually said, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be a little bit careful
Yeah.
on you don't want to record people, but when it's on text, it's written. So you said this, I said that. When we're having a conversation, it's me versus you, and let's have a great conversation. I
Yeah.
think when context is allowed to happen, that's when you get connectivity. That's when you get alignment with what was or what could be wrong, and now it's being fixed. That's a huge issue.
Yeah, exactly. And another point to that is like to piggyback off that is all of a sudden you get the situation under control, and then while you're on the phone with them, they're like, well, yeah, no, thanks for handling this. My son's going to Case Western, and that's music to my ears. Wait, your son's
Yeah.
going to Case Western? How often do you guys come to Cleveland? Oh, well, we live in New York, but we try to come back here quarterly. Bam. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, well, we have 13 locations in Cleveland. We can fit anywhere up to 16 guests down to, 4 guests or whatever. And, we can take you off platform, save you money, book you direct, and we're going to give you the same customer service, just not on the platform.
Yeah.
That's, another reason why I try to call every guest, because you get something out of them versus that bland conversation back and forth via text message, right? Now you're not always going to get somebody to pick up the phone. They're not always going to be
Right.
comfortable with that. But I will say our 5-star stays have increased drastically from that approach. And just with how critical, like if you were starting an Airbnb business right now, we're 5 years ahead of anyone trying to do what we've done because we've done it from the ground up. I started when I started in Columbus. I cleaned the place. I cleaned the place. I was a working CEO, and my wife was too. I mean, we have videos of us carrying furniture up flights of steps. We never hired anybody to do any of that. We still don't. It's still us. I bought a Sprinter van about 3 years ago. And even before that, when I sold, when I was selling ultrasounds, I had a big Ford transit truck, right? We
Yeah.
were loading that thing up with furniture and going from house to house to stage them, to do this, that, and the other. So I think our story is very unique because I think a lot of, some of these, people that are out there, like some of the Airbnb gurus, I think there's a lot of fluff to it. And there's a lot of like, this guy worked in tech sales for 2 years and then he became an Airbnb millionaire. That makes me laugh because it doesn't work like that. It's a grind. It isn't, it's like I saw a video the other day of an airplane taking off, right? And when it takes off, it's showing like, year one, right? And then
Yeah.
year two through four, you're in the clouds, right? Right? Because you can't see anything. And then year
Yep.
five, you're out of the clouds and you're taking off and you're going up, right?
Seeing what's what. Yeah.
That's what people today, in my opinion, they don't want to put the work in. Everyone wants to make money. They want to do their own thing, but no one wants to put 5 years of sacrificing something and doing, I say 9 to 5 is extremely important. You don't quit your 9 to 5. Anybody that says quit, you're crazy. But what you do before your 9 to 5 and after your 9 to 5 is how you separate yourself and your
Yeah.
business. And that's where my wife and I have, worked off each other to create this business and for it to come to fruition of where it is now. I mean, if someone told me 5 years ago where I'd be right now, I'd be like, you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
I didn't grow up financially um, set or anything like that. I grew up in a small town. So for me to learn this and just scale the way I am, it means more to me than being able to, somebody that kind of had the money and they just kind
Well,
of made it
sure. And
happen.
the way you keep describing your growth and your scaling, it's slow and purposeful, not rapid and chaotic. And I think that's what separates you from the other people in this marketplace because you've established through this slow growth and this attempt now to start scaling your business. It happens because of the institutional things that you and your wife have established for your business, knowing we're going to do this the right way because it's all about the customer experience. How do we work every day to make the customer's experience better? Okay. We're the ones that do the interactions. We're the ones that follow up. And we have a team that does the interactions when necessary. But we are the front and the face of the business because that's what we're looking for. We want that human interaction. It's scary how many people go into business and don't have a plan. What I like about what you guys are doing is you're following a model that you created and it's repeatable because now there's 15 properties in your portfolio. Clearly, you know what you're doing. And eventually there's going to be 30. Holy crap, what do we do when there's 30 properties?
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. That's
You're not going to be able to have your father-in-law go to all 30, but what you're going to
no,
do,
no.
right? What you're going to do is establish a system that says, this is how we do it as a company. And whether it's my father-in-law coming to solve the problem or it's going to be Ted, it's our employee that comes and does this because he fits our structure, our vision, and what we want. Everybody will be like, oh, great, Ted's coming, great, perfect, because he works for you. It's not, well, I hired Jim's plumbing to come and show up and fix this. It's Ted will be there in 20 minutes. He's got you. It's just a different way of doing things. And it's all about, again, that customer experience. It's the
Yeah,
number one thing that I think a lot of businesses, and in particular your field, the B2C world, it's customer experience that really makes or breaks your ability to keep repeat business going. That's
agreed.
what you need to do.
A hundred
Dude,
percent.
this has been an
Yeah,
amazing
it's like
conversation.
people buy, I always say people buy from people. I mean, that's never going away.
Mhm.
And that's why, I've always been a relationship seller because I know that when it comes down to it, someone's got the same product as me, but I give them that different feeling of doing business with. They're going to pick me over somebody else if we're neck to neck, right? And that's
Mhm.
where a lot of people don't see it that way. I see it that way, and that's why for our business, it's just like, hey, let's continue to keep it that personal approach and not go to AI. And obviously, the more you scale, you're going to have, we talked about, have the systems in place for AI. And we use that periodically, but I really, really think the best way to continue to scale the right way and be unique is that personal touch. And that's where the more and more we grow, we don't look at it like, hey, we're going to, spend all this money on software. We're going to hire people. We're going to hire people
Yeah.
because we'll get it done. And I think everyone wants to, especially Airbnb, how much it's taking off. I think everyone wants to make it so system based,
Mhm.
right? Because they see the dollar signs of growth, right? And how they can keep more. We look at it that if we do things differently and unique and we hire people, because my big thing is too, I enjoy, you know, people that don't have jobs, right? We are changing people's lives in
Yeah.
Cleveland, especially cleaners that they might not have, very much, money coming in. All of a sudden we're giving them one house. They're cleaning that house 6 to 8 times a month. That's another $800 in their pocket that they didn't have. Because so there's things that, like, we look at it as, obviously, we want to grow the business, but we want the right people
Yeah.
in the room with us. And in doing so, it's been fulfilling to, from being a sales guy that's just like numbers, I'm going to go out there and do this, that, and the other, to now that I have to be the number one guy where I'm running the business and air traffic control. It's a completely different mindset of, like, when you see
Okay.
bringing somebody, yeah, the sleepless nights, hey, is this going to turn out? Are we over leveraging? What do we do wrong? But
Yeah.
to give somebody a job that is
Mhm.
struggling, and then to see their face and appreciation, that's something special of being an owner. It's more than just growing a business and making money. It's seeing how the difference of how you can make a change, like change somebody's life.
Yeah.
For instance, we're hiring somebody to work under Dan, and he's been a cleaner for us. He's been a jack of all trades. Just whatever we need, he'll take care of us. And we hired him basically full time to work under Dan and learn under Dan. So it's almost like an apprenticeship for him.
Yeah.
And he's so appreciative of what we were able to offer him. And that's the things you don't see when you're just a W-2 employee. You're just, let's be honest, you're just working to,
Mhm.
provide for your family. Now as an owner, I'm helping provide for other people's families. So it's a different type of mindset.
100%. And what you've done, Brian, is you've explained the transition from being an individual contributor to now
Yep.
all of a sudden you're the guy at the top of the list. And now you understand how important it is to have individual contributors buy into what you're doing. So
Yes.
whoever's going to be working under Dan is an individual contributor, but you being an individual contributor in your day job, no, it's important to be a part of something I believe in. And that's
Exactly.
why it works. It's an amazing circle. And there's so many things to talk about on this, but
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
believe it or not, we are up against the clock. This has been
Awesome.
an amazing conversation.
No, I
I want
enjoyed
to,
it.
oh my God, it was great. I'm going to thank you for being on the program. And I'll have all your information and descriptions down below. People can get in touch with you. We're going to do what we can to fill as many of those houses as we can. And I want to thank you. See you,
No, I
everybody.
want to thank you too as well, Scott. I appreciate this opportunity, and hopefully, this anybody that watches this, feel free to reach out to myself if they're going through a journey of starting an Airbnb, or if they're looking to have somebody manage it or coach them. Obviously, I still have a W-2 job, so I do know how to leverage the STR tax loophole for any high income earners looking to save some money and get their foot in the door with real estate. So happy to help out any way I can.
Love that. Thank you for giving back.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
we're going to see everybody next episode of the Legacy Leaders. Thanks, Brian.
Yep. Thank you.